Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Rangers. Today is Wednesday, October 16th. It is episode 41. The New York Rangers are 3 games into the 2024-2025 campaign. Picked up points in each of their first 3 games, 2 wins, 1 overtime loss against the Utah Hockey Club, who finally got their first loss of the season the other day against the Devils. Got shut out, I believe it was, 3-zip after starting out hot 3-0 or hot 3-0, beating the Rangers and the Islanders. And I think the Blackhawks, they played on opening night. So they got off to a little bit of a quick start, but the Rangers overall, not a bad start so far. 2-0-1. Again, got points in each of their first 3 games, 6 points on the season. Joe, what's going on?
Good. You know, it's been kind of like not saying up and down. I mean, they've won, what is that, 2 out of the first 3 games. And then they got the overtime loss, but there are some concerning stuff. But at the end of the day, continue to win games. And, for the most part, like I said, they've looked good, but still, especially in that Utah game, there's stuff where a little cause for concern, but for the most part, you can't really complain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're only 3 games in, so you don't want to overreact to either good or bad. Definitely some things that still need to be cleaned up, though, with this team as they head into their second straight matchup against Detroit, this time on the road in Detroit after picking up a 4-1 win against them. I guess we could just start. I guess we can kind of bounce around. I guess we could start with the good. You want to start with Panarin? I guess we can start with Panarin. He's off to a really strong start again this season. Leads the team in points with 7. He's got the 5 assists, of course, and the 2 goals as well, which he scored both against Utah, and it had a 3-point game on Monday night against Detroit with the 3 assists. What have you seen from him so far? Obviously, the tied for 4th in the NHL right now with assists and tied for 4th in the NHL in points. So top 5 in each of those categories. We were wondering going into the season what we would see from Panarin coming off of his 120-point season where, we saw him put up 49 goals and those 71 assists, kind of expecting a little bit of regression just because 120 points is such a high bar for him, considering he never hit 100 prior in his career, let alone 120 and come close to the franchise record. But off to what has been a strong start so far through 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of just getting the puck to the net. It feels like kind of how it was last year, where he's trying to be more like aggressive as far as just getting to the middle and firing shots off. So it's been a good start for him. I feel like he's really able to kind of, I'm not gonna say bounce back, but how the last 2 playoffs run didn't go well for him, and I feel like he kind of obviously takes a lot to heart of how he thinks he could have done more for the team, but it doesn't really seem he's lost a step as far as where he left off last regular season. So I'm expecting a relatively the same regular season from him. I mean, I didn't think he was going to have as good as a season that he did last year. I don't really think that's realistic, but I can still see him getting like 100 points.
Yeah, I agree too. 120 is very just kind of crazy to ask for, especially in back-to-back years. The biggest thing continues to just be performing in the playoffs. I don't know if this is finally the year that happens. I think we've kind of just come to the conclusion with Panarin where he's going to dominate in the regular season, do a lot of really good things like he's been here in the first 2 games or the first 3 games. Might have another 100 plus, maybe heck 110 point season. Maybe doesn't reach 120, but I don't think it's crazy to think if he continues on this trend, he can hit 105 to 110 again. But it ultimately comes down to the playoffs. But he's looked good, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be a key piece to getting to this team to the playoffs. And then ideally, you hope that other guys eventually step up. Mika's got to, of course, step up in the playoffs. We all know that. I guess we can jump into Mika because I guess most Rangers fans, he's probably lived up to what expectations through 3 games. It depends on how high or low you were on Mika going into the season. Some people believed he'd be better. Some people believed he would be better just because he was so bad last year that he really can't get any worse. But here we are through 3 games. I mean, he had the 3-point game against Detroit, but the first 2 games really a non-factor. Only had 1 shot on goal in those 2 games combined. That was the game against Utah. Was non-existent in game number 1 against Pittsburgh. first line, he hasn't shown up so far. And obviously the power play continues to be a pretty big talking point as it's always been, and probably will never change.
I mean, listen, you can call me a hater all you want, but I don't. I haven't. He's been bad this year. I mean, yeah, sample size is 3 games. 2 out of 3 was bad, so you can say that too. But I mean, okay, scored empty net. I guess he made a nice pass on the power play to Kreider, and I guess he won a face-off where he got a point off of the Riley Smith shot, which was, let's be honest, a pretty weak goal. But he was moving a little bit better in that game. I felt like he was getting more chances than he was, but I don't know. He was so bad in the first 2 games. I mean, don't get me started on how bad he was against you. I mean, that was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. I mean, especially at the end of the game, he's not realizing that he's got to cover Clayton Keller. It just
And that's
mental. That's not even skill. That's just mentally being stupid.
And that's something too that we've always praised Mika for, is at least defensively he's usually pretty sound, even when his offense is off. And that was a moment where not scoring, not doing anything offensively, and then he has a defensive gaffe. A mental mistake is the best way to put it. You're not buying the Riley Smith though stock after that goal.
No, I mean, he hasn't really done much. Let's be honest here. He hasn't done, that line hasn't been good 5-5. I mean, yeah, they got
it's been typical. It's been
they got the 5-6 goal. They got the power play goal, I guess, from 2 of them that were on the ice, and then they got that goal together. But I don't know. They don't really generate that much. I don't think they're great forechecking. They're decent defensively, but I don't know. I don't have really much faith in Zibanejad more so. I mean, Riley Smith, he is what he is. As long as he's just playing solid, he can be like a third-line player. Kreider, we all know, he's going to score a lot of goals this year. I picked him to, I think, score the most on the team, either him or Lafreniere, but I just think that he's going to be what he is as far as power play, and his expectations are what they are, I feel like, and he hits them. Kreider's a guy that I feel like you have expectations from him, and he's always going to come through. But then kind of just like going back to Zibanejad, just disappointed. It seems like his game just hasn't been the same since that 2019 season. And whatever it is, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or just maybe he's just getting older, but just seems like he doesn't push the play as much as he does. It's not shooting to score as much. I mean, even on yeah, it's a nice play. We scored. That's all that matters. And like Kreider assist, but I mean, that's a spot where you'd like for him to just wind up and shoot for the most part, but I'm not going to kill him because he made a good play and obviously they scored. But I just feel like it's just concerning to me that he's not really that, quick triggering shooter anymore. I mean, for the first 2 games, like he was bad. He made some mistakes, no points, and they scored 11 goals. He was like a -4 or -3, whatever it was. But good, he had a bounce back game. But I don't know what my expectations are for the rest of the season. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm not very high on him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be probably about what we've seen. It feels like that's the player he's come to. And that, you make the point about 2019. It feels like he peaked in that Capitals game. And ever since then, it's been.
He was good, though, after that, though. He was on a goal streak. He scored like 4 straight games after that.
He did, yeah. He did. And then he had COVID. Because I think he had didn't he have the goal? I think the last game they played wasn't against the Avs, I think it was, before COVID actually shut it down.
He came in with speed, beat the guy wide on a breakaway, and did his patent move and scored.
Yeah, and then didn't he? I don't know if he scored in Carolina or the bubble series.
Oh yeah, he must. I think
was that game 1
or something. It might have been game 1.
I forget.
He did score in that game.
He did score there
one
too.
of those games.
That the series doesn't.
That was Hank's last game.
Stupid bubble qualifying round or whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he peaked in that moment, and that's been it. Really,
his whole career. I mean, he had those couple he was god awful during.
Yeah, he was good in March of 2019. COVID hit, and he forgot.
He was terrible, but then he had those 1 or 2 insane games against the Flyers. But I mean,
that is true. Well, that is true. Yeah, the next year, the one game was 9 goals.
He had 2 6-point games against the Flyers.
Yeah,
I mean, but again,
he owns Philly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could bounce back. I mean, he still has a talent level, but it might just be a mental thing. I don't know. It just seems like, honestly, for the best of him, and we talk about this a trillion times. All Rangers fans talk about. I think for the better of his game, he needs to be split up from Kreider, but they won't do it.
No, they won't do that. No, not at all. That'll never happen. I don't know what we will see first, a Rangers Cup or Mika and Kreider getting split. Probably
Well,
neither.
probably them getting split because then they'll just like retire or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, if them getting split could lead to them winning the cup because it could
That's
help.
true.
So
Well,
probably
maybe
need like
maybe they'll
cup.
do
If anything, would be cup because they're not going to win a cup with them too together.
no.
Either they split them or they just go in and retire, and then the Rangers win a cup with like another core 8 years from now. So probably the cup because they're not going to win the cup with them two together, most likely. But I don't want to be too negative. It's game. We're getting into game 4 tomorrow night. You still got 78 more games, 79 technically more games to go. Lafreniere's been, I think Lafreniere's been, talk about Mika, opposite expectations. He's kind of set the bar low going into this year. A lot of people did, and it's kind of hit that low bar. Lafreniere, on the other hand, bar was high going into this year, and so far has picked up a point in each game, 4 points through 3 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, had the goal against Detroit and then the one against Pittsburgh on opening night, which was a good start for him. Sam Carrick scored the opening night goal. We got Hedel come back. We got Lafreniere right out of the gate coming out hot. We got a Sam Carrick goal to open up the season, which
My goal
was
picks came out hot too. Started off
Hedel.
one for one.
And you got Kreider, and then Trocheck scored late in that game to make it 6-0 at that point, which was just pretty much icing on the cake. But Lafreniere's looked really, really good so far. And I mean, I think the expectation, at least for me, and I think for all of us, just continues to grow. And you'd love to see him get bumped up on the power play, but that obviously probably will never happen with Mika. But what have you seen from Lafreniere here through 3 games?
Yeah, I mean he's been good. I mean, again, he doesn't play the power play, so I guess point totals have to be a little bit of like limited as far as expectations wise, because as much as we wanted him to be on it, they're not going to take Mika whoever off. But other than that, he's been awesome 5-5. I mean, he's probably like up there in 5-5 points. I mean, it's early in the season, but 4 5-5 points or 4 even strength points, whatever you want to call it, because I think it's 5-5 right now. But yeah, he's been great. I mean, the 2 goals are pretty nice. The toe drag, that was kind of a nice goal. I mean, maybe Jari should have saved it, but still a nice move. Then the other goal, he just got himself into good positioning, got the shot off, and then he beat Lyon. And then the assist was pretty nice. The one the other night in the Utah game, where he kind of held the puck in, dropped it Panarin. But he's been noticeably good as far as handling the puck, bringing the puck up the ice, and just getting into the right spots, especially offensively. I feel like we kind of, like you said, like expectations were high, and I feel like he's kind of going to meet them, I think, and I think he's going to have a big year. I can still see him scoring like 40 goals, which is an unbelievable season for someone who doesn't even play the power play.
Yeah. You think if he plays the power play, he'd be 50 goals?
Well, if we're saying 40 goals without the power play, yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, I think he would. I mean, you got to figure you get like 8 to 10 more goals, right? If he ends up scoring like 40 goals, yeah, probably. But at the same time, they'll probably have like 4 or 5 on the power play, so it'd be close.
Yeah, definitely. No, but he's been very good, and like you said, now on the power play, his numbers are kind of right where you want him to be through 3 games, and they could even be even better than what they are. But Mika will continue to take up that spot. Any other forwards you had on your mind? Because I did want to get to Igor as well, and even talk a little bit defense. But any other forwards that you wanted to, or just lines?
Yeah, I'd say. Well, you can say the whole line itself, but the third line,
Yes,
I think Will Cuyle's been. You
Cuyle's
can
been
argue he's been the best player on the team. He's been so electric.
The year 2
I
jump
mean,
is clear.
he's been awesome. I mean, bodying. I mean, he did hit the goalie, but I don't blame him for that. I think that was a little bit of a bullshit call, but he's been flying, physical. I think he's got 3 points in 3 games. He could have 4. He had the goal called off against the Penguins, so he's been great. I mean, the whole line's been great. I feel like Kakko's playing really well. Hedl's been amazing too, especially in the first game. I mean, just flying around, confident with the puck. I mean, it seems like that line might get so many chances. I don't know how many goals they're going to score because I feel like they don't bury, but they've been awesome. I mean, if you look at the point totals for Cuylle and Kakko, 3 games, they have 1 point each. But again, they don't play power play. They've just been awesome 5-5. Like I think they're like first or second league in like goals expected or whatever. But I like they all as a whole been amazing. But if you want to single a guy out, I think Cuyle's been awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. The physicality is obviously very, very present. The offensive ability has been on display here through the first 3 games, especially the Utah game where he had the 2-point game with the goal. He's been great, and he's such a crucial piece of this team as well moving forward. Like I know we're so early in the season, but a lot of what this year is going to continue to be just like last year is like, what can this team ultimately do in the playoffs, even though we're so early? But Cuylle is one of those guys that had a very solid postseason last year, was one of the only guys that showed up all the way through that Florida series. Of course, a lot of guys ended up disappearing. But a guy that in year 2 brings that physicality, really good playoff hockey type style of play that he brings. And he's in year 2 now, so you're going to see a jump. Last year kind of got the first playoff experience out of the way. Now and he handled it very well, but now he knows what to expect and can grow on that. And of course, in the regular season, you'll see a lot of growth. So he's been excellent. That whole line's been great. Hedl got one in game 1, which was really good to see. If he could stay healthy, if Hedl could stay healthy, Kakko's been, he's been solid. But if Hedl could stay healthy, that's
He's
so
been getting
huge for that
chances
line.
though, Kakko.
What was that?
He's been getting chances, but he can't
Yes.
score.
Yeah. Nobody, like you said, nobody can bury on that line. Third line, you don't really have that guy there.
It's a great line though.
It is a great line. But eventually, similar to remember the conversation we were having last year about Lafreniere, like eventually the puck's got to start to go in the net.
Yeah.
Eventually we're going to have that talk about the third line, I feel. Give it a couple more weeks and we're going to be talking about.
If they continue just to play strong, I'll be okay with that. But yeah, they got to eventually start somewhat scoring.
They'll get a break eventually.
Yeah.
I think it won't be snake bitten all year.
I think people always look at the point totals, but I think he's been pretty solid.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree as well. Now, got to talk about Sam Carrick, right? Sam Carrick, fourth line, first goal of the season.
Didn't I have him first goal scorer of the season?
Sam Carrick? I forget.
I'm kidding.
I honestly forget. Yeah. Such a highly regarded, like the big ticket free agent the Rangers brought in the offseason, did exactly what we all expected him to do.
Score.
I mean, who didn't see him scoring?
Yeah. And then he fought someone, right?
I think so, yeah.
And then that's when Edstrom got thrown out.
Yeah. Yep. So big ticket free agent, career high, I believe, 19 points career high. He's a career high in goals, 11. Like you knew he was going to go. He's on pace for, this is the 30 goal year from Sam Carrick. 40 goal year. Huge year.
Hey, don't count out Sam Carrick.
No, not at all. Although he hasn't scored since, but that was
imagine that's the only
I was laughing. I wasn't even like cheer. I was happy, but like I was just laughing.
Imagine that's the only goal he scores though.
It could be. He goes on like a Barkley Gaudreau.
A Barkley Gaudreau run though, but then comes through in the playoffs. I think
could come through in the playoffs and then goes to San Jose next year. Follows the same path. He could. It's possible. He's going to go on a drought now. He's not going to score until like Gaudreau had a goal. Didn't he have a good goal like late in the season, or he had a couple goals?
Yeah, he had like one goal like late in the year.
Yeah, late. So he'll score a goal in like beginning of April, one of their final games, or March, beginning of April. March. Yeah. And then he'll turn it on in the postseason. However, he'll finish to like 2 goals and like 8 assists, and then he'll turn it on in the postseason. And he'll be the only guy that will maybe actually do anything. But no, Carrick, yeah, good to see him score. Kind of funny, ironic, but he gets one in the back of the net against Pittsburgh. Defensively, what have you seen from what have been your thoughts on Mancini so far? He's probably the biggest, one of the bigger guys to look for, just considering, of course, we kind of know what to expect out of the other guys.
Yeah, I think he's been solid. I mean, he made that one nice move against Detroit the other day where like split through the defenseman and then he like almost scored. I don't know if it was like a piece of it was taken by the goalie, went wide, but it seems like he's shown some sort of flashes. I mean, he scored the goal, right? That got called back.
Yeah.
But I think he's been fine. I mean, him and I guess he's playing with Jones, I guess, or is he playing with Schneider?
Third pair with Jones, yeah, because Schneider's with Trouba.
feel like they moved it around so much, and I get confused. But
Yeah.
he's been good though. I feel like for the first couple games of his career, I think he's been solid. I think he's been better than Jacob Trouba, and I can even say he's been better than Miller. But I think eventually you're going to see him go back to Hartford just because of the contract, because he can go down, and they're not going to hold two defensemen that are scratches because it seems like Lindgren's coming close, but. I feel like he's a guy that you can kind of see that you can rely on if someone gets hurt. So that was my biggest thing. Like, can this guy just be a serviceable NHL defenseman right now? And I think he can.
Yeah, no, Lindgren's coming back. Glad you mentioned that. He's coming back soon. He switched into a contact jersey and out of the non-contact jersey today, I believe it was. So he's definitely on his way back. Here in a couple games, whenever that might be, whether probably not tomorrow, but maybe potentially Saturday, Tuesday, probably maybe Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. One of these next probably 3 games he'll be back while they're on the road. But yeah, I think the defense, yeah, I mean, Trouba's kind of been as advertised, but that's not too surprising. You think opening or not opening up, but the home opener, that was Trouba or True. Those weren't booze. I heard, I don't know. I want to hear, I want to think it's booze, but I don't believe it's booze.
It was probably like a mixed.
Yeah.
There's probably some people booing him.
There probably was. I would have been probably booing him.
Yeah, I think I would have too.
I wasn't booing him in my living room, but I think some people probably would have booed him. Anyway, Igor plays great in two games so far, and then Utah was pretty bad. 6 goals, the overtime goal, of course, to lose that game 6-5. But the Pittsburgh and the Detroit game shut out against Pittsburgh to open up the year. And that was like a big statement after the whole contract thing. And then last night or Monday night, I keep saying last night, Monday night against Detroit, stops 31 of 32 he saw and holds them to only 1 goal. Rangers, of course, do enough on offense. They get the job done. What have you seen from Igor so far on what is pretty controversial situation, big season, important season, big topic, big storyline, but obviously has blocked it out enough where he's looked good other than Utah?
Yeah, I mean, even in the Utah game, I don't think it was terrible. I mean, a lot of those goals I feel like weren't his fault as far as like just like bad positioning, Mika, or some bad turnovers. I thought Miller was terrible in that game. Trouba was terrible in that game. Maybe a couple goals he could have gotten back in that game. But besides that, it seems like he's been locked in. I mean, first game you get the shutout. Last game I thought he had some really good saves. The 1 goal was just kind of a scramble in front. Nobody picked up the guy in the high slot, and you just beat him. But yeah, I think he's been good. I still obviously am gonna stand pat on. I think 11.5 is even a lot, and that's the most I'd even consider going. I feel like 8 years, 11 million was a great offer, and it was a little disappointing that he didn't accept it. But we'll see what happens with that, though.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something to monitor the rest of the year. I don't think something gets done middle of the season. I don't see it. I think you're going to wait until the off season. They're going to pay him. In my opinion, I think they'll pay him.
Yeah, they're going to keep him.
They're going to keep him. Whether it's the right move or not, probably won't be the right move at that point. And we have to see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the Rangers win the cup this year and they pay him anyway, and it doesn't even matter because who cares?
I think that's the only, like, I think I said it in the last episode. That's like the only win-win is that you first off, you get a cup, right?
Yeah, then it doesn't matter if he's.
And then if you pay him,
yeah,
he won a cup. So it looks good for Drury if you pay him. And if you don't pay him, well, you won a cup. So I feel like fans are going to be happy. So
yeah, fans will be happy either way. And if you pay him and it hurts the building of the team the next 5 years, it's not going to matter because you won a cup. So the next year or 2 after, fans are going to be okay with potentially being, below average or whatever because you won a cup. So yeah, that's probably the only realistic positive outcome to this whole situation is win a cup. He either signs, win a cup, or he doesn't sign. Winning a cup's the only positive outcome of this year, if we're being honest. There's really no positive outcome otherwise, even with the contract situations, other than winning a Stanley Cup.
I guess maybe getting to the finals. I think a conference final appearance is just not good enough.
No, maybe I don't know. I can't. They
have to get to the cup.
They got to get to the cup, and then you can talk depending on how the cup goes, what happens, how they lose. Like if they get to the cup and get swept, that's not good enough.
I think
for me.
It's mostly a failure if you don't get to the Stanley Cup final season,
Yeah, it's if you don't get to the cup final, it's 100% a failure. If you get to the cup, it depends on how the series
you've been
goes.
to the playoffs 3 years in a row. You got to the conference final 2 out of the last 3. It's time to get there.
Yeah, I agree. Any other thoughts on the team so far, 3 games in?
No, I feel like I said, there's obviously some ups, some downs as far as like individuals. Like I think Miller's got to be better. We didn't really go too much into him, but he's got to be a lot better. I think Fox has looked okay. We didn't really mention him. I feel like he's been fine.
Yeah.
Kreider, obviously, he's been fine. He scored. I think he's got three goals. I think. I don't know. I mean, maybe Trocheck could be a little bit better. I still have a lot of faith in him. Hasn't really done much.
I agree.
But,
scoring wise, a little bit of a slow start. Yeah.
Edstrom really hasn't played that much. In the first 2 games, obviously in the second game, gets thrown out because of the second guy in the fight, but or second fight started. But I don't know. Rempe didn't really notice him that much. Again, didn't really play that much anyway in that game after the fight where they went down to pretty much 9 forwards. I think Carrick might have played a couple penalty kill shifts, but besides that, so Brodzinski, nothing much. I think Jones has looked okay. I don't know. Am I forgetting anyone? Schneider. I feel like Schneider's looked okay. Scored a goal.
Yeah. Rempe, really the only thing was just the ovation. That was about the highlight.
The Rempe chance.
Yeah. So far for him. And Edstrom, to be honest. They both kind of.
Yeah, they haven't really done much, which is not a horrible thing as far as.
Yeah, I mean, their fourth line.
As long as you're not really taking stupid penalties or, making bad mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we can get into goal scoring picks. So they have 3 games coming up here. We'll get to these 3 games.
I'm up again. 1-0.
Thursday, tomorrow, Detroit on the road, 3-game road trip. After being home for 2 straight. Toronto on the road Saturday, Montreal on the road Tuesday, and then they'll be back home for a big early season showdown, probably the biggest matchup of October against Florida on Thursday. So that'll be a big early season test for this team. Of course, knocked out of Florida back in June. So I guess you can go.
You can go. You can go. You need the first pick more than I do.
So for Detroit, I'll go. Who scored? So Detroit on Monday was what? Mika had the empty net.
It was Lafreniere and then the first line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like all of them can't score again. 2 of them aren't going to score again just because they saw them. This is stupid, but I'm going to go Trocheck. He's got to finally. He's going to have like a breakthrough game. He's got to have a breakthrough game here eventually. He's got to have like a 3-point game coming up here, like 2 goals and an assist or something like that.
I was considering picking him. You kind of stole that, but I'll go with Kako. I feel like he's due.
Toronto. I'll go Panarin in Toronto.
I'll go
Laffy in Toronto. And in Montreal, second Canada game. Trying to think back to last year. Who scored against like Montreal last year?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Does Lafreniere, that one, I would go maybe No, he got robbed against Montreal, didn't he?
I think he did. Yeah, I think at the end of the game.
End of the game. I think he got robbed. He didn't score. I think he got robbed. Yeah, because I remember his family was in and stuff. He had 2. Did he have 2 goals up to that point? That would have been the hat trick. Or I don't know.
He only had 1. I don't know.
I'll go Lafreniere against Montreal.
All right, I'll go.
I'm trying to think. Let me see. I want to see this. I thought he had.
I
know he got robbed, but I thought it might have been like he had 2 goals up to that point. Let me see this. It was in Montreal. because they had a couple beatings. Like they beat Montreal that one game, what 7-4? I
Then
think.
they lost one game because that goalie like stood in his
Yeah,
head.
they lost. That was the game I think Lafreniere got robbed.
Yeah, that was in Montreal.
No, yeah, he didn't score that game. I was off, but he got robbed. Yeah, that was shootout. They lost. Yep. But
Wait,
they
so
beat him up at home. They had that 1-7-4 game. They beat him up. I remember. So I'll go Lafreniere. He finally gets one. Gets one in.
You got Laf, Trocheck, and Panarin. Trocheck, Panarin, and Laf.
Yeah.
All right. And then I got Capo Caco. Who did I say against? Oh, Lafreniere and Kreider. We'll go Kreider for Montreal.
Kreider? All right. I was thinking about going Kreider. Kreider's always a safe bet, but I didn't go Kreider.
Seems he's like a Montreal killer, especially because he knocked out Carey Price.
Yeah. Kreider, always a safe bet. He's the safest bet, I feel like.
Yeah, I think Panarin is like technically if you go on like FanDuel or whatever,
safest,
has like lower odds.
I don't know. Panarin though, he scores in bunches sometimes. Like he'll score.
Like, betting has like Panarin is like more.
And that's the thing with Mika too. Mika scores in bunches. Like he'll go he'll go like 2 weeks without scoring, and then he'll have like 2 goals.
He went like 6 games first like 6 or 7 games without scoring. So hey, third game he's got a goal.
That is true. He's making progress.
Who the hell knows?
Any closing thoughts? Week 1 in the books. Week 2 coming up.
No, it's a good week. Let's just keep playing well and have to win the cup.
Yes. 79 more games to go. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. As always, thanks for watching. And LGR.